Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an awesome day. Thanks for coming back to watch another video. If you guys are already part of the family, as always, thank you so much. And if you're not, I would love if you guys subscribe so you can know every single time I upload a brand new video, such as this one. And without further ado, let's get started. So today's video is going to be none other than another designer handbag review, and I have a very special one today because I'm going to be sharing one that's a little bit more affordable for you guys. So today's handbag I'm going to be featuring is the Peyote handbag. And this is by a brand called Parmentier Peyote, and is actually sold exclusively on a site called Diaries. So I've had this bag for about a month, a little over a month now, and I have been loving it. It is a tiny little bag, as you can see, but it has served me so well and has been amazing everywhere that I've used it and for every purpose that I've taken it on so far. So let's chat a little bit about aspect number one. Yep, we're diving right in today. Number one is going to be material of the bag. This bag's actually handcrafted in Italy, and it's made out of very smooth Italian calf leather. So when you look at it, it doesn't necessarily look like leather up front, but it definitely is. It kind of has like this strange plasticky feeling, but like if you sniff it, you can tell that it's leather. I actually really like the finish of this bag because it means that I'm not going to be able to damage it easily. Scratches don't really like adhere to it as much, and if you are to scratch it, you kind of rub it a little bit and it'll disappear really quickly. So the front is kind of like this whole leather here, and the back is also completely constructed leather as well. And then there's tonal detailing with the bow detailing on the front, and then the inside there's just a flap, which is interesting. We'll chat about this in a second. And then on the interior, it's kind of like a textured black lining. Well, it's not really a lining really, it's almost the interior of the leather. The other side has been dyed black, and I don't know what's been coated in, but it's also a very smooth, leathery type of feel. I never really worry about getting the interior of this bag damaged at all either with any like pens or keys that I have, just because it is dark, so you're not going to see any stains, but at the same time, because it is so textured, you're not going to really see any scratches internally of the bag. So that's essentially aspect number one of the bag. The entire bag is made out of the exact same leather, so there's not too much to chat about, but I really love this leather because there's so much durability to it, and I feel like this is a bag that's definitely going to last the test of time and last you a long time. So now we'll move on to aspect number two, which is kind of the construction, shape, and overall design of the bag. I like this bag because it is really tiny and small. As you can see, it's almost like the size of my head. Most of the bags that I've been purchasing recently have been roughly this size or like a little bit larger. And a long time ago when I was in high school, I used to carry tote bags exclusively all the time because I loved how much it would carry. But because the bags are so large, I found that I was consistently throwing just like things in that I really never needed, and I would just collect garbage. And by garbage, I don't mean like actual garbage, just like wrappers of stuff or like receipts or papers that I never really needed. And I would never take the time to actively purge my purses, to clean them out, to make them clean again essentially. So having a very tiny bag has been super conducive to me because I've been able to really minimize how much I'm carrying around all day long, and to make sure that I only ever have the essentials inside of the bag, which is primarily why I like the shape of this bag. Now, I do like that although it looks pretty flat on the top here, if you look at the side profile, it's actually pretty evenly distributed all the way to the bottom. There's this interesting little flap detailing here that like if you really stuff it, it helps to really pop the bag open. But otherwise it's pretty flat at the top and the bottom gets a little bit wide. The base is great because it allows you to really sit it on a surface without it kind of like falling over. I don't like a lot of envelope style bags where when you sit it down it just like collapses over to the side. The only kind of downside to this bag is in terms of the design, it's curved on the bottom, so if you don't get it perfectly rested on like the exact location where it needs to be, it kind of teeters around a little bit, and it kind of sucks when you're putting it on an uneven surface because you're gonna have a little bit of a hard time trying to make sure that the bag sits down completely. But not to worry, because once again, the leather of the bag is very forgiving, and if you do kind of like teeter around and it falls over, you're not going to accrue any sort of like weird scratches or anything. The bag is super forgiving, and I think it's great in terms of design. We're going to chat a little bit about the bow detailing on the front here. So this actually goes almost all the way around. It's secured on either side of the back, sewn into the back flap here, and it goes through the side of the bag and out towards the front. Now, when I first received this, the bow was like really tight and you could barely adjust it. I made the mistake of tugging it through completely because I was curious as to how it would look, and I also wanted to really understand how this knot was tied in place. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that because now I've kind of loosened up the knot a little bit, and it doesn't always stay completely tight 100% of the time. So if you guys do pick up this bag, I highly recommend don't fiddle around with the bow, let it stay as is. Looking back now, I probably shouldn't have done that, and I may have to look into getting like Gorilla Glue or Crazy Glue or something to really like keep it shut together, even fabric glue, so that it doesn't continue to slide. Because every once in a while after a long day out, I do notice that this is completely detached from the main bow part and it's just like hanging out loose, and I regret doing it so much because it just makes the bag look so silly. When the bag is fully intact, it looks great. We're gonna chat a little bit now, still on aspect number 2, in terms of construction, about the top of the bag here. So it is closed with a flap, absolutely. Now the neat thing is that the flap itself is not typically where you would expect a flap to be. Most flaps usually close on the exterior of the bag, and I actually thought that this bow detailing here was designed to keep the flap shut so that you can lay it over top just like that and keep it in place. That's not the case. This flap actually has a magnetic detailing right here, and there's also a magnet on the inside of the bag, not for you to line it on the outside, but for the flap to actually interlock on the inside like this, and it snaps shut just like that. I actually really like this because it makes it super easy for you to really like put your hands in and dig for what you want and to take it back out really quickly. The only downside about this is that because it is so easy for you as the bag owner user to access it, is that it may also be just as easy for other people who are pickpocketers or thefts to also access your bag. So I would recommend keeping all your valuables way down at the bottom and just putting things at the very top that you don't really mind too much about being potentially stolen, such as like receipts, Kleenexes, I don't know, other stuff that like isn't as important to you as potentially your keys or your credit card. But besides that, I think this is a really cool, neat feature. It makes the bag look super minimal and sleek, and I've just like never owned a bag with this sort of design before, so I really appreciated it. Moving on to the inside of the bag, there is only one compartment in here, otherwise it's like a giant black hole, and it's this little, I guess, pocket on the inside. I typically just put my credit card or my bus pass on there when I want something for quick and easy grabs, but otherwise, like most of my bags, I don't really put much into the flaps there. I prefer bags, if they are gonna have organizers and compartments in them, to actually be wide, massive ones, so I can put things in, such as like my phone in one and my wallet in another, and if the bag is big enough, like a granola bar or something. But when it comes to bags with flaps like that, I honestly just never really use them that much. And if I do, it's just for something you can grab really quickly that I know I'm not gonna like stretch at the bag. The inside of the bag is completely black, like I said, and it has this interesting textured material that makes it really easy for you to scratch up the inside and not worry too much about it, which I absolutely love. We're gonna move on to the strap of the bag now, also part of construction still. You can use this bag either as a clutch if you really wanted to, although I think that it's a little bit too large for you to securely hold it one hand completely, that I really like that you can use it with these two strap hooks on the back here. If I can detangle this. Ta-da! Just like this. So because these straps are completely detachable, you just take them off like this. It's super easy for you to attach another strap completely onto it if you like. I know the trend right now is to play around with different straps and to mix and match them, so if you do have other ones lying around, you can definitely mix and match it up and play around to get a completely different look. We're gonna move on to aspect number 3 now, which is the length of the shoulder straps. So 100% removable, like we just mentioned. It's also 100% adjustable as well. All you have to do is take them out by these little knobs and make them either shorter or longer as you please. At the moment, this is the shortest that the bag goes, and I'll put it on just to show you guys where it sits on my waist. So when I wear the bag, it kind of drops down to about my hips here, which is roughly the spot I like to wear most of my crossbodies. It's really comfortable. It doesn't sit directly up on my hip, so it doesn't bounce out when I'm walking. And it's not too low that it feels like it's sagging underneath my hips and it's like difficult for me to reach. This is actually the perfect length for me. And I've actually had a lot of people ask me what my height is because they're interested in knowing how the bag drops on them. I'm roughly a 5'5", 5'6", for reference if that helps at all, and it drops right below my hips at a very comfortable spot. So one thing that I typically focus on whenever I'm getting a bag with a shoulder strap is how comfortable is this strap. This strap is a fairly thin one, and I'm gonna touch on this because I really dislike thin straps typically, but because the bag is so small, you don't end up putting much into the bag that renders it super heavy, such that if the straps are too thin, it'll hurt your shoulders. I found it in the past that whenever I wear a thin strap, it really digs into my shoulders, and I don't like that. But because this bag is so small, and like I said, it doesn't weigh much, I don't ever have any sort of problems with these straps when I'm wearing them whatsoever at all. Moving on to aspect number 4 now. I think we're in 4. Hopefully I'm counting properly in this video. We're gonna chat a little bit about the color of the bag. I have been recently obsessed with this kind of aubergine red shade, I guess you would say. I've kind of snapped out of my obsession or like love for neutral bags just because I've seen every single classic bag in a neutral color on the street by like 100 girls already that it's kind of, I don't know, it seems very passé to me. if everybody else has the exact same bag, it sort of makes me feel like my bag isn't special anymore. So I've kind of ventured out of the neutral zone and started playing around with really fun, funky colors for my bags, if that kind of makes sense. As you guys may have noticed in some of my previous videos, I have the black and blue Gabrielle backpack. I did get a basic color in my Celine box bag just because I know that that bag in itself is like a super classic style, and I want to keep it as classic as possible so it would be timeless in the future for my children or my grandchildren for me to pass on to. But for a fun little affordable bag like this, I figured it'd be completely okay for me to go out of the norm and to try a brand new color that I don't really have just yet and to experiment with that. So with that being said, I ended up going with this bag in this kind of burgundy oxblood color and with a tonal matched bow in this beautiful brown shade. Now, if you do really like this bag, but you're not fond of this color, it also comes in like a myriad of different colors. I know there's a beautiful baby pink, there is a gorgeous red shade, there's also some blue, blacks, and I think some browns as well. A lot of those different variations, you can get the entire bag in one color. So the bow and the bag in itself would be the exact same color. There's a couple of iterations where the bag and the bow are two different colors. And I think in those iterations, the bow is almost always a brown, whereas the bag is a completely different shade. There's a really, really gorgeous yellow shade that I really like, but I can't really justify buying two bags in completely different colors with the exact same silhouette. So I had to refrain from that and just stick to this red-ish oxblood color one. We're moving on now to aspect number 5, which is going to be the cost of the bag. This bag is fairly affordable compared to all the other designer handbags that I do own. It comes in around $355 Canadian. Plus tax, I think that comes almost to around close to $400, which is not too bad. Keep in mind that this entire bag is constructed out of leather, so all of the finishings and the material is of the highest quality, and it is crafted in Italy as well. This is not made in like a mass manufacturer in China with polyurethane, so what you're paying is what you're actually getting. It is very much an everyday kind of casual throw-on bag, so if you're not really comfortable with spending like $5,000 in a Celine box bag that you can use as an everyday casual bag, this is a great entry bag to get into kind of the market of designer handbags without feeling like you're sacrificing your firstborn child. So we're gonna move on to aspect number 6 of the bag now, and that's kind of like the overall look, aesthetic, and feel of the bag in general. To sum it up, I think that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So this bag in itself is a very casual, everyday, throw on, run errands type of bag. You can go to dinner with friends, you can go shopping by yourself, you can go on a date with your significant other, go get groceries, or even walk your dog. Why? Because it's a beautiful crossbody that you can just sling over. Most crossbodies are fairly casual looking. The color in itself is super trendy right now just because it is this beautiful red shade that everybody's loving, and the overall detail and design is so minimalistic that it can match with any outfit that you wear without feeling overly formal or overly casual. It's just a great everyday bag. I also like how easy it is to get in and out of the bag. It's a no fuss, no hassle type of bag to use, which is also great for every day because you don't want to be constantly like worrying about like 1,000 different zippers and hooks and buttons to open and close your bag when all you want to do is just quickly reach into it to grab your keys or your credit card. That's essentially it for this bag. I hope I was able to summarize all of my thoughts for it and to really kind of convince you guys whether or not you needed this bag or you want to pass and get a different one. I think it's a truly affordable and very well constructed bag for the designer handbag kind of like niche. If you're just getting into that, this is actually a great gift for somebody who doesn't necessarily own designer handbags but you know is really into fashion, and it kind of like feels nice to own a little piece of Italian luxury, doesn't it? I think everybody would agree so. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped if you are currently on the fence about whether or not to get this bag. If you guys do get this bag, the exact same color, let me know. Or if you do just get the bag in general, let me know as well. I would love to know which one you end up getting. I also have a couple of other Le Parmentier bags in my collection that I would love to share with you guys. There's this beautiful little red one that, it's just so perfect. It's another great everyday casual bag that I want to show you guys. So let me know if you're interested. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much for coming back and watching my videos. Make sure to subscribe and give me a big thumbs up. I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.